So let's get into tonight's first session. So I'm going to welcome Laura, who, as we said, is a primary teacher in Glasgow. She's a digital coordinator, an Apple learning coach, and a microbit champion as well. It's good to have you here.
Nice to be back again this year.
I noticed that I was looking through and preparing and seeing that last year you were saying about microbits, and this year you're saying about AI. And you were at the STACS event at JP Morgan where you gave us a whirlwind tour with Amanda about everything AI.
It was so nice to be invited and to be able to represent the primary sector as well, and to just meet people that I knew from online and share the knowledge. And I think a lot of the secondary staff were really interested and engaged and really delighted to hear from the primary perspective and helping transitions to secondary. So hopefully we can inspire some people.
Exactly, all that, the transition stuff and all that. So before we go into Laura's session, if you've got any questions, some of you have already found the comment section. So pop in your comments, and then towards the end of the session, we'll kind of pull some of the questions and we will fire them to Laura. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so my session today is all about quizzes. If anybody was at the STACS conference, you will have heard me talking about it then. Just want to give some insight all about it. Feel free to connect on social media as well if you have any questions or just want any support or anything. Okay, so with Qwizziz app, if you have 5 teachers at your school signed up, you get the free lifetime access to the paid version. You can use your Google account or your Gmail or whatever, your school account, and it's pretty easy to sign up for. Okay, so getting started with what is Qwizziz? So Qwizziz is a fantastic teaching program. It allows you to be able to deliver instructions that are really relevant for students with a boost from AI. And it is super fast. If anybody hasn't used it before, it literally creates resources and quizzes for you within seconds. It allows you to plan engaging yet vigorous quizzes in a matter of minutes for any grade level or subject, so suitable for primary and secondary colleagues. So here is a little 30-second video about what is Qwizziz. Hopefully you can hear the sound. Possibly not going to play for me. Try once more. Not to worry. Okay. So I'm going to go through some of the things, the most recent additions to Qwizziz to help you in your classroom. So one of the things I find most useful is there is a Qwizziz lessons extension or an add-on for Google Slides. I use Google Slides for creating all my resources, so having this was a lifesaver. Also, if you have any PowerPoint presentations that you can insert into Google Slides, it will turn this into a lesson for you within seconds without ever having to leave the slides. Okay. So there was lots of videos that are supposed to be playing within this, but I'll share the link to this presentation in the chat at the end because there are loads of links within it for how-to videos and stuff that you can use later. Also, Qwizziz AI allows you to digitize your curriculum resources in seconds. Even if you have an image of something, taking a picture, maybe you have a worksheet that you've created in your classroom, seems a bit outdated and not very exciting, take a picture of it, upload it into Qwizziz, and it'll create a really interactive and engaging quiz for your pupils. Same with textbooks, and I've seen this quite a lot in secondary schools recently, is taking pictures of the exam papers. So obviously this time of year when it's exam time and you're coming to the end of your year, it can be pretty hard to keep the kids engaged and focused, especially when having to do exam papers. So turning those into a much more engaging quiz can definitely make your life a bit more exciting in the classroom. Same with PDFs or any kind of documents that you have. Turning PDFs, there are 2 options when you upload your PDF. You can have it where the children can read the PDF at the same time as the questions beside it, or they read the PDF first and then they do their quiz afterwards. Depends what you're looking for. Maybe if it's a particularly long PDF or a long Word document, you may wish to have that there so the pupils can refer back to it. Thinking about maybe if you're doing English in secondary schools And obviously pupils would have the text there with them and doing comprehension questions at the same time. This is my personal favorite, is transforming videos. So any YouTube video that has closed captions, which apparently they almost all do, I didn't realize that. You literally just take your URL, pop it into Qwizziz, and within 45 seconds, it creates an interactive quiz for you. And again, just like the PDF, you can do this both ways. Maybe the pupils, maybe you're watching the video as a class together. I know I like to do that because we don't have headphones and things in our classroom. So maybe as a whole class, you're watching the video together, and then the kids are going off in teams or on their own and answering the questions. Or the second option is you can have the video there playing for you. So maybe it'll play a short section of the video, and then there is a quiz question to go with it. This is also ideal for independent practice. Maybe you've got a YouTube video on how to do long multiplication, and you maybe want to assign that to a couple of pupils in your class to help them. This is also quite new to Qwizziz, our little Qbits. So they're like avatars for your classroom. The kids in my class absolutely love these, and I've spoken to secondary colleagues, and they actually love to use them too. So we avatar for the kids. There's little clothes and hats and scarves that you can put on them, and just helps them to be a wee bit more creative and representing themselves within the quizzes. And again, as you'll see on the slide, it says, learn more here. I'll share this presentation, and you can click on all the links to learn more. For if you've maybe used clickers or that before, you maybe kind of recognize something very similar here. So this allows you to access quizzes if you don't have a device. Now, I'm in Glasgow, and we're very lucky to have a significant number of iPads. So we do have access to devices, but I know not all councils are the same. So you're kind of printing out your cue cards and distributing them to pupils. Oh, I'm glad someone says that the kids like the Qbits. I like making mine as well, to be fair. Starting the quiz on your computer, and the kids are answering the questions in this way. Now, something new as well is accommodations, or kind of differentiation, I suppose I would call it, within Qwizziz to help meet the needs of all learners. So this helps to ensure the technology is really accessible and compliant for the learners. It can reduce kind of a lot of the barriers that are there for pupils, and allows you to be quite flexible. And there are loads of different accommodations within Qwizziz, and I'll be going through some of them. Okay. So if you have your class set up within Qwizziz, you could assign the same quiz to the whole class, but you may have different things built in. So maybe you've got Jane and Mark over in the corner who you think maybe might need extra time for their questions. You have a child that has just come from Spain, and they want to do their quiz in Spanish. You have Read Aloud, there's dyslexia font. And also one I quite like is participant attempts. So maybe having more than one chance to answer a question, or a redemption question, like you didn't get it wrong, try doing the question again. And you can also reduce answer choices. So maybe for some pupils in the class, maybe there's 4 answers to it, and in other kids, maybe they've just got 2 or 3 possible answers for their question. Now, game changer, obviously this is Qwizziz AI. So this is creating a quiz based, obviously using AI. So you're just typing into it, create me a quiz, for example, here on photosynthesis, and it will generate the quiz for you. You can then change the questions and up level the questions, and I'll go through all different things you can do it. But again, it's literally creating things in seconds for you. It's super fast. So when you have created your quiz, you can then enhance your quiz. You can, use it to fix grammatical errors. The one I quite like is add answer explanation. So maybe if the child has got the question wrong, you can then have typed in kind of what the correct answer was and why. Maybe particularly useful in secondary, maybe even more so when you're doing maybe your exam papers and things, and giving kind of answers as to why it was or was not the correct question. So plenty you can do to support your students and add in your creativity to make it fun. And I have used this in my classroom, and it is so fun. The kids are out of their seats. They're 8 years of age. They're primary 3, maybe not the same in secondary, but they're out of their seats. They're jumping up and down. You've got like the live leaderboard up on your screen. It tells you if you've got the answer right or not, and they're screaming and they're buzzing for it. So when you've created your quiz, you can then use it to add similar questions, translate it into other languages. I was trying to look up today. I think there was maybe 7 or 8 languages that it was translating your quiz directly into. So hopefully, maybe you might use some of those in your classroom. You can convert the questions to real world scenarios. So especially if you're, you're thinking about maybe it's a quiz to do with multiplication, but you want to make this bit more relevant to the children actually applying their knowledge to real world questions. You could simplify the questions. You may have one quiz for one group and then kind of copy your quiz and simplify it maybe for another group in your class. You can add the student's name into questions, make it fun. Yeah, so here are the kind of the 2 favorites is translating into another language and making it sound like. So if you have like you're doing a quiz about Doctor Who, and you could say, make these questions sound like Doctor Who has written them. Or you're doing a quiz on Romeo and Juliet, make the questions sound like they have been written by Shakespeare. Or if maybe you're studying somebody in school, you're Taylor Swift at the minute, I'm thinking about make it sound like Taylor Swift has written these questions. And it is quite fun the way it comes up with the different ideas. So asking students what they want to know in multiple ways. So they can answer the question with like an image, gifts, or text. And the gifts are quite fun. And especially if anybody out here makes their own gifts, just makes it a bit more exciting. And kids love using gifts, and we create them, and I create them in my class all the time with the iPads. This is one of my personal favorites, is flashcards. So for example, you have created a quiz on subtraction within 100. Okay, it creates the quiz for you. You can then turn the questions into flashcards. So maybe on one side of the flashcard it says 40, take away 10. The child maybe thinks of the answer, clicks on it, it flips around, and it gives you the answer on the other side. This is really helpful if you've maybe created a quiz and maybe you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do this quiz on Friday to assess how much they have learned about subtraction from 10. But you may have a couple of kids that you may wish to give the flashcards to before the quiz to give them a chance to practice. Or after the quiz, you realize maybe there was a small group of children in your class that found it really difficult, didn't get any of the answers correct. They can then use the flashcards for studying themselves. Someone's asking about your account. I just use my Gmail account to set up my quizzes, and you just clicked on what school I was in, and that seemed to be fine. Okay. So allow students to see why they got their answer wrong. And that, I've mentioned that already about they've clicked the answer as wrong, and then you give them an explanation about it. And again, you can do that with a video, a picture, or text. If you maybe have a small quiz and maybe it's about a quiz on photosynthesis or the parts of a volcano, and they've got the question wrong, you may want to like give them a link to a YouTube video that would help to explain it for them correctly. Okay. So in the next slide, I'll show you some of the different types of questions that you can use within quizzes, and they're really quite nice. Now, it's supposed to be all interactive videos, and I don't think it'll show up here, but again, I'll share it to you in the chat afterwards. Okay, so already mentioned about the using videos. So again, there are 2 ways. You can have the video there beside you and you're watching while you're answering questions, or you're just watching the video separately, but it allows that kind of for independent practice. Maybe you have a video to do with phonics, and the children then are doing the questions by themselves. You can allow students to categorize anything. So for example, here, this is classifying the options into is it a fruit or a vegetable? And the children drag and drop them into the correct place. The students can visualize their voice in real time during brainstorming. So a word cloud, which I know lots of people use it, especially like staff meetings and things like that. So again, maybe you've asked the whole class a question, the kids are typing in their one-word answer, and up creates your word cloud. So maybe, what is the best thing we have learned today in class? And up pops all the kids' different choices. And it's quite visual and effective, especially if you have a smart board in your classroom where you're displaying this in front of all the kids. The children can draw within it and label things on it. Maybe here, marking the correct positions of the atriums. Maybe you're learning about, I don't know, parts of a leaf, parts of a bridge. Or my son at the minute is doing parts of a volcano downstairs for a presentation tomorrow that we haven't done yet. Again, drag and drop labeling, a bit like the previous one. And drag and drop them into the right part. Ideal for like maybe maps, maybe labeling famous places in Glasgow. Can you put them in the right place? Can you label the mountains within Scotland, the main cities within Scotland? This is quite a cute one, especially if you have wee ones, is a drawing task. So for example, here it's draw a leaf, but it could be just draw yourself on a sunny day. Yeah. And obviously you get up through secondary. If you have opportunities maybe with stylists and stuff, you can make it a bit more challenging, or you could have a map on it and you say to the children, okay, you have to find Glasgow on the map. You have to find Edinburgh on the map, or Fife. Students also have the ability to plot a range of mathematical relationships on graphs and automatically graded for them as well. Like all your quizzes are all graded and you can get feedback from them and download your scores. And here, finally, I'll share this as well with you. There's you basically click on all these things and it gives you a how-to guide and how to do all these different things within Qwizziz. After this, there are a couple of quite good courses. So the Qwizziz PD Hub, it's all very American. We got the Qwizziz University. There are learning paths. So each learning kind of course comes with a little badge, which I quite like earning a badge. There's on-demand resources. There's loads of catalogs, PD resources. You can register for live learning events. There's one tomorrow, 18th of June, on using quizzes with Canva and how they both kind of amalgamating the two together to make it even kind of more accessible and easier, especially if any of you, I don't use Canva a lot myself, but if you're somebody who uses Canva, ideal putting the two together. Okay. After learning this, there are two courses that you can do. They don't take particularly long. The Game Changer one is really handy. So basically, it's just like you're within the Qwizziz app and it will guide you through how to do every single thing I've just told you. For example, it's a tutorial on how to create a quiz using AI, how to create a quiz using YouTube URL. And it literally takes you through step by step, every single thing. It's really interactive. And at the end, you get a little badge. And then there's also the Qwizziz AI one as well. You get your wee badge to share on Twitter for that afterwards. And that is all from me. And if there are any questions, and feel free, obviously, to catch up with me or Twitter or anything. And also, if you follow Qwizziz on Twitter, they do a lot of opportunities for winning swag. So that's always a huge benefit.
That was intense. That was a very speedy. And I've got loads of notes going, oh, I could do this with, you know, the idea of taking a bit of the National 5 course specification, dropping it into Qwizziz and getting questions.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've done that before with other AI platforms, but then you've got to put them in to your question. But the fact that Qwizziz does it all is brilliant.
And it's very, like, even if you're, like, I've been in restaurants and taking pictures of the menu and uploading that to make a quiz for myself. And it's like, you know, which ingredient was in the hummus and stuff. But ideal, like if you've got anything in your classroom or like a picture of a train timetable or the bus timetable, you know, anything around you can be turned into a quiz pretty quickly.
There's a lot of love in the chat for Qwizziz.
Good.
I know there's a few Qwizziz users. Got a wee question from Anna. Does it keep a tracking system?
Yes. So if you set up your class, now you do need to be careful with data and things. I know in Glasgow we are getting the app onto our devices, but you could set it up with with just initials for the kids, or maybe imagine pupil 1, pupil 2, if you keep a record, it stores it all for you. It stores all the scores. You can download them. It creates a whole lot of assessment data. It tells you afterwards what the pupils need to work on, which area they're missing, what questions kids were getting wrong. It tells you everything. I don't know, and it keeps it all for you, and it marks everything for you. So if people find it hard to keep up with assessing, especially in secondary school, marking, I can imagine marking an English exam paper is slow work. This does it for you. So it's fast.
Okay, yeah. Brilliant. In fact, it's got that ability to track through time as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a real strength. Fantastic.
No problem.
Well, thank you very much for coming along, Lauren, giving us lots of ideas of how we can get quizzing in our classroom. I think I now need to go and get another notepad because I've got lots of ideas. So if that's from one session, who knows what will come from the rest of the evening. So thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy your summer holiday when they arrive.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you very much.